welcome to Camille's Country Corner. My name is Lexi, and today we are going to be making a copycat recipe for Cracker Barrel's chicken and dumplings. Let's get this video started and get those dumplings rolling. All right, let's go. So for this recipe, I am just going to start off with a big bowl, and we are going to be adding 3 cups of flour. So I use a half measuring scoop just because my container is a little bit small. 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. We're also going to need some salt. It calls for a pinch. I'm just going to do a little bit heavier than a pinch just because it wants to be flavorful. We also need just 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And then here I have some buttermilk. So the buttermilk mixed with the baking soda is going to give it the texture that we are looking for this recipe. Let me get my pastry blender. It'll just make it a little bit easier for me. So I'm just gonna pour that in and then use my blender, and we're just gonna start mixing this bad boy together. One of my favorite things that my boyfriend and I do is every once in a while we'll go to Cracker Barrel with his family. And I just love so much the chicken and dumplings. I only ever went there for breakfast with my family, and then he introduced me to this, and it was just amazing. So now anytime I have leftover rotisserie chicken, that is what I tend to make, because how else are you gonna use up that chicken besides like overdone meals that you've already done all over Pinterest. So perk of these. So my batter is looking a little bit wetter than I would like it to. So I'm just gonna add another half cup of flour. We'll mix that in. I'm just gonna use my hands to finish mixing this together, just so I know that it's kneaded in there the way that I want it to. Okay. This is a good ball. I'm just gonna set this off to the side until we make our dumplings. So let's go to the stove and get the base of the soup or the gravy started. Okay, so a high heat, I'm just going to dump a quart of homemade chicken stock. And then I'm going to fill this quart back up. And then I'm just gonna fill the quart back up with some regular water. I might add more if I need to, but we will play it by ear. I'm also going to add just a touch of the Better Than Bouillon chicken flavor into it, just because I did add the water into it. So literally just a little dollop into here. Now this is the best part about this whole recipe. That's basically it. I'm just gonna add a touch of some salt just because I don't season my chicken stock. And then I'm going to just do a touch of some pepper to start this off. I will be adding more as time goes on. And then literally a dash of garlic. You don't want it to overpower this dish. And bring this to temperature. While this becomes to temperature, I'm going to destroy a rotisserie chicken that we ate some parts of the other day. And we'll be back once this comes up to temp. Okay, so I've added the chicken to the stock water mixture. Get that up to temperature, and right now we're going to roll out our dumplings. So I am just going to take a little bit of flour to flour my surface. And I'm just getting these ready. We're not ready for the dumplings to go in yet. We want to have the flavors brew a little bit longer, but this is just an easy step to get out of the way. Come on. Okay. Do some more flour on top, because I don't want this sticking. See how it's a little bit poofy now? So it is up to you how thick you would like these. Just remember, they are going to poof up once they get into the water, like if you've ever made homemade gnocchi or any other kind of dumpling. People like to do this with like canned pop biscuits or something. It's very similar. Need more room. We like a lot of dumplings, so I actually take the recipe and I do it like 1.5 times so we can get maximum dumplings. Even if like I don't have a lot of chicken, which I didn't in this case today, I want to make sure that I have plenty of dumplings to go around. Okay, gotta flour this for a second. I don't want the bottom to stick while we wait. So gotta reflour some of this. Come on. It's like a big pizza. Okay, more flour. Flip this upside down. This side is very floured, so that one should be okay. And again, I like to do it maybe 1/4 of an inch in thickness. That is ready for some cutting. All right, so now I'm just gonna take a pizza cutter and I'm just going to do them in about like inch-long strips. So I just like to cut them down the line first in a roughly the same thickness. So the flour that is coated on the outside of this is actually going to help thicken the stock once we put them in. And if we need to thicken it a little bit more, we can always do a cornstarch slurry. I do typically need to add that at some point, just a little bit, to make it more like a thick gravy than soupy. But we'll get to there when we need to or if we need to. Okay. So did my lines this way, and now we're gonna go this way. Yes, obviously some pieces are gonna be small. I just throw them in anyway, but the ideal length is going to be this. So let me just finish cutting these up. Yep. Some of these are definitely not even, but that's okay. It's made with love. I feel like that counts. All right, and now that is done. Oh, my brain needs these to fix. Okay. Okay, now these are all cut and ready to go into our soup, so let's take a look at that. All right, so as you can see here, it definitely is boiling away. So I'm just gonna give this a good little stir, make sure everything is swimming around in here. It does look like I already need some more pepper, so let's add some of that. Honestly, the pepper is to your preference. I like to see the pepper in kind of each bite. I feel like that gives me the most resemblance to the Cracker Barrel one. There we go. It's a little bit better. All right, you see how it's swimming around in there? I am going to use a tasting spoon and I'm just going to taste this for salt levels. Try not to burn my tongue. It's very chickeny. Could use a touch more salt. And I am gonna do a little bit more of the garlic. Oh, that tastes so good. Okay. Let that marry for just a little bit. I do like to do this in little handfuls at a time. Just sprinkle them in and do a light swirl so they don't clump. You see how they're starting to float to the top? That means that they are cooking. I did lose my temperature, so I'm gonna let this come back to a high and then add the rest of my dumplings. I've only added maybe about half. Okay, so I do have all of my dumplings in here now, and my pan is full, like jam-packed. I am just bringing this back up to temperature. I did turn it down to medium though, so it can kind of mellow with each other. It's still very liquidy in here, so that's why I did turn it down. I am just gonna let this run for another 5 minutes, and then I'm probably gonna have to add a cornstarch slurry to this until I get it to the consistency that I like. I did add a touch more pepper to this, but I don't think I'm gonna add any more, so that if my boyfriend needs to add anything additional to it, like more pepper, he more than certainly can to his own bowl. I don't want to over flavor it, make it too peppery, too salty. All right, see you back in 5 minutes. All right, so just taking a look at this, still not the consistency that I want, so I did go ahead and create a cornstarch slurry. I would say maybe a 1/4 cup of water to a tablespoon of cornstarch. Just dump that bad boy in there. Once this comes to temperature again, it is going to be thick with 2 C's. Okay. Yep, I can already see the difference in the broth. So I'm just gonna let this come back up to temperature, and then we will check that consistency again. I do see that it is starting to thicken out though, so that's really good. More like a gravy, which is, see, you can even see all the dumplings kind of sink because of the weight of the gravy. I want it just a little bit thicker than that, but I'll let the heat do the work for me. All right, so here is my completed stew or chicken dumplings. Let me grab a bowl and we'll try this together. Okay guys, so our meal is done. I bet you can see the steam is rising here, so I'm gonna try not to burn my mouth. My bowl is so freaking hot, but I'm very excited about it. Definitely is a little bit later. So I said I started around 9. I started at maybe 8:45, and now it is 9:30, so it did not take me that long to get this going. And you can prepare your dumpling dough ahead of time or shred your chicken, and that definitely would save you some time when you're making this, especially if you wanted something like a weeknight meal. Definitely really fast. And you can always do cheater dumplings or anything like that. I just like the homemade ones. Okay. Do a little bit of the chicken, the gravy, and the dumpling. I don't want to burn my mouth. I already did that earlier when I was tasting for flavor. That is really good. It tastes exactly like Cracker Barrel, and I would gladly make this over driving all the way to the Cracker Barrel. Because now I have it in a giant pot that's gonna last 2 to 3 days worth of meals, which is perfect because you could just eat a whole bowl, be super full from all the dumplings, and then you can have it again for lunch or dinner. It does not get tiring. I hope you guys like this video. Definitely hit subscribe, definitely hit that like, and we'll see you in our next video. Thanks guys, bye.